Howdy, boys and girls, and welcome back to the Carla and Crappy Show. I said buys, but not boys. I'm crappy, and I'm clearly out of practice. It is week 9 of the college football season. I haven't been on my own program since week 5. Some of that was a dalliance with playoff baseball. Some of it was an unplanned kind of surprise medical thing that actually included an overnight stay in the hospital, and then a very much planned vacation. In that time, however, it's been difficult to keep. I mean, think back to the beginning of the season, and then think about this. Right now, Florida State can't win. Alabama can't lose. Okay. We've discovered that contracts still actually exist. All you got to do is ask Curt Cignetti and the number two Indiana Hoosiers. We've not only accomplished our annual goal of getting Vanderbilt Bowl eligible and done so in October, but we've also managed to insert the Commodores in the top 10. Carlo, what the hell happened?
You left and everything went
I don't understand.
Yeah, no, and Penn State fired James Franklin. Remember, like right when you left, like we were still thinking that we were going to meet 3 times this year. And now I'm just praying for bowl eligibility, and that very quickly is falling through my fingertips after that loss at Iowa last weekend. Right. So, I'm not sure they're going to get there. I only see two possible wins on the schedule, in the remaining schedule for the Knits. I really wanted them in the Music City Bowl, but I don't think that's going to happen either. So, welcome back. Thank you.
We're good at manifesting stuff. We can make that happen. AG, I have a thing for you. As well. This was slacked to me on Sunday. Our friend of the show, Eric, my work colleague, and a proud graduate of the Colorado State University. I'm going to quote this. Tell AJ that I thank his beloved Bose for ending the suffering. Jay Norvell is a Hall of Fame human being, but this wasn't working and wasn't going to work. I wish it would have. So number one, I wanted to pass on Eric's thanks. And Carla mentioned James Franklin. Obviously, there have been other coaching changes since then, including one that my sense is we're not going to give you another way to weasel out of this. The folks in Gainesville obviously have made their decision to move on. How's that going to go? What is your best guess about what Florida's going to do from this point?
It's interesting because everything that I have heard is that all of the process stuff that Florida was kind of lacking up to this point is now there. Billy did a lot of stuff really, really well from Sunday to Friday. It was Saturday that was the problem. The problem with Dan Mullen prior to Billy Napier was Dan Mullen was pretty good on Saturdays. He was awful Sunday to Friday.
Right.
So they need somebody who can actually like bridge that. They need somebody who can kind of get them over there. The 2 biggest names that I'm hearing that are like locked in, these are the 2 they're going to go after. One is Eli Drinkwitz at Missouri, who I've heard people say that he's kind of outgrowing Missouri. Like he is a better coach than what Missouri needs, air quotes. This is a visual medium. The other one, and the boosters have said it, and many of the fans have said it, it's Lane.
Yeah, that's who they want.
And Lane Kiffin going to Florida makes a ton of sense. He does have the Sunday to Friday put together. Yes. He is great at getting guys out of the portal. Trinidad Chambliss out of Ferris State out of nowhere. Like, he's very capable at building a program from a have-not into a have. Ole Miss is. Let's talk about this real quick. Ole Miss is not a have in the SEC.
No,
they have historically not been good, and he has made them into a consistent 9-10 win team.
Yep.
Lane coming to Florida, he is also one of the best ball coaches out there. He still calls a crazy offense.
Yep.
And is able to get a lot out of his players. I think it would be very successful if they were to bring Lane to Gainesville. That said, we thought Billy Napier coming to Gainesville was going to be super successful. And before that, Dan Mullen, we thought was going to be super successful. So there's a lot. Like at this point, like I don't look at a coaching hire the same way anymore.
Okay.
As you mentioned, like the God contracts of this like crazy long term, huge payout, buyouts at the end. I see that shifting, and I think this cycle is going to reset that. I think Cignetti might have got the last one, mostly because Indiana didn't want to lose him.
Right.
One of the pieces of that contract that I haven't seen yet is what his buyout is. Not what the school would pay if they wanted to let him go without cause.
Sure.
What is his buyout / what school is going to have to pay Indiana a pile of money to get Cignetti out? Looking at you, Penn State. If you would like Curt Cignetti, I don't know what that bag is to get him out of there. That's actually a thing that Belichick has in his, like, Bill Belichick's buyout is $30 million if UNC wants to fire him.
Right.
If he would like to leave, it's like $1 million. So that's the sort of dichotomy in the contracts when we start talking about buyouts and those sorts of things.
It is. There was a fantastic story in The Athletic 3 weeks ago. At that point, talking about Billy Napier's conjecture. But the writer, and I don't remember who this was, Carla, I will get you so we can include this in the notes.
Okay.
But it went through a number of reasons why the Florida job is a tough one, and refuted most of them in his own story. And it's AJ stuff that you mentioned. Facilities, check. Finally getting on board with
they're
NIL.
About to invest another $500 million into the swamp.
Yeah. Right. They've gotten on board slowly, but they've gotten on board with NIL. Napier's one of those guys that preferred kind of his homegrown guys versus the portal, but that obviously is an easy thing for a new coach to change. The one thing that really stuck out to me at the end of the story, he's like, is Florida the program that Florida thinks it is? And an unbelievable thing to me, from like the 30s into the early 80s, Florida never won an SEC title. One of 3 schools, never won. And it wasn't until one of Steve Spurrier's predecessors won one that was subsequently removed for recruiting violations. Wasn't until Steve Spurrier, national title. Go through a dry spell, Urban Meyer, short period of time, 2 SEC titles, 2 national championships. Since then, it's been kind of back to what it was, always has been. I'm Carla, maybe you bring this up with your husband at your own risk, I guess. But I'm not reading those numbers. Is Florida what Florida thinks it is?
Gosh, that's a loaded question.
It is, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think it's a generational thing.
Okay,
let me go there because thinking through like other things that are going on, like this is a bit of a stretch, okay, but like culturally, like we have this thing for nostalgia at the moment, right? And the people who are diehard college football fans right now are very nostalgic because they're that right age of the Spurrier years, right? Yep. Thinking about especially your boosters, because it's your 40s to early 50s that are your that carry a lot of your booster money. They remember the Spurrier days because that was their college era, right? And so their frame of reference, the way they remember Florida football, was Spurrier, old ball coach, right? And so I think that might be part of what is driving this. It's a really interesting situation because depending on who you've talked to, I mean, Dylan and I talked about this last week that like the boosters kind of made their minds up on Wednesday.
Yeah.
That Napier is going to get canned by the end of the weekend. And then, of course, Florida screws around and actually wins the football game. And so now you have this slightly optical perspective of like, well, but he won and you fired him anyway. No, it wasn't a pretty win. Okay. But still, it's just kind of like it's a bit of a head scratcher from an optics. If you're not if you're not following what is happening there, it looks confusing, right? And so that's going on. And then again, this is why I should write things down, because I read a piece that was really interesting, that one of the things that ultimately may have led to Napier's demise is kind of what AJ was referencing, but it was who's calling the plays. Napier was still calling his own offense, and apparently there was a bit of a discrepancy within the athletic department that they really wanted Billy to hire an actual OC and have somebody else call the plays. Okay. And Billy was like, hell no. It's my offense. I'm calling the plays. And that was the reason that kind of ultimately led to the boosters saying he's not going to change. He's not going to move to the CEO kind of head coach, which is where the SEC model is going, in particular. And so, and then the performance on the field wasn't great. So Florida has the facilities. They have usually, and that's not true anymore because the way the SEC schedules now, but like they had the benefit of being in the East previously. And they still don't like their guaranteed rivalry matchups are not terrible for them. Like it's actually pretty favorable for Florida if they would be able to put something together. But I mean, we talked about it, the Florida Gauntlet this year. I mean, the schedule this year is absolutely brutal. And you're going to end up with that because the SEC is starting to, NIL's evening things out. I mean, hello, Big 12. The SEC is getting very close to Big 12ing itself.
An
we're not there yet.
An SEC buffet would be delicious, by the way.
It would. Whole bunch of barbecue there.
Yeah.
So much crawfish.
Crawfish and barbecue.
Biscuits.
One thing to note is we've been talking about the Florida Gauntlet. And Carla, I think that you kind of hit the nail on the head there around like Billy calling his own plays and like him not appearing to want to change is what got him fired. They were going to fire him regardless of what happened with Mississippi State. Like that, the result of that game had nothing to do with whether he was going to get canned or not. Yes, there's the optics, but also it's a bye week next week prior to the cocktail party. So if you didn't fire him now, you let him coach the cocktail party. Now all of a sudden he beats Georgia out of nowhere like he almost did last year. And now you can't fire him.
Yeah.
So this is where I think they had to can him this week. It was this week or you got to wait till the end of the season. And he potentially coaches his way out and he pulls a full Les Miles at LSU on the way out. There are very few times that a coach gets to coach out a season even when they're fired. The only time that I can recall this happening recently is Edo in 22 whenever he was let go from LSU. Basically they said, hey, we're letting you go, and he asked, can I finish the season for my guys? And he had the benefit of, I just won a national title in the last 2 years. They were like, we're going to let you finish the season. He had more or less been told he was done, and then word got out that he was done, but they had not really ever officially announced that he was done until the end of the season. So it was one of those hey, we're going to let you have the finish. We're going to let you finish this out. We're definitely letting you go, but we're going to give you the benefit of the doubt because you won a natty. Going back to that gauntlet thing, though, their 2026 schedule, listen to this.
Okay.
What if they had the past few years? They've had an opening game. They had that home and home against Utah. They've had out of conference games against bigger teams. They've had Miami on the this year. They had Miami on the schedule. Their out of conference schedule next year is Florida Atlantic, the Campbells, and Florida State. That's not the same thing.
Yeah.
No.
And then you have the cocktail party against Georgia, which is, I think they have to be doing some goofy renovations to Jacksonville because it's in the Benz next year.
Really?
The cocktail party's in Atlanta next year.
No.
That's gross.
No,
I'm disgusted. Anyways, but then if you look at the rest of their schedule, Auburn, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, South Carolina, Vandy, Kentucky, Missouri, Texas. They duck Bama.
Yep.
They duck Texas A&M.
Yep.
They duck, they're not ducking Georgia, but they don't have the monsters they've had on the schedule like they had this year.
Yeah.
In fact, I just noticed something. They don't play Tennessee next year.
Really? Okay.
Tennessee's not on the schedule for next year.
Yeah, that wasn't a guaranteed rivalry.
That's right. They took that away as a guaranteed
Tennessee,
rivalry.
the Tennessee fans were very upset by that.
So you have a much lighter load here for the next guy coming in, whether that's Lane, Drink, or otherwise. I don't know, man. This seems like the next person coming in between NIL, the portal, and a lighter schedule can go from whatever Billy was going to be this year to potentially 10-2 next year.
It can be done.
And everybody's going to be right back on board. So, yeah, this makes total sense that they did it. And I think doing it now makes sense. Looking at you, Florida State, they're letting Norvell coach the year out. That news broke today.
Yes.
As is Luke Fickell.
As-
Luke Fickell is
yes.
getting the benefit of the doubt and is going to be able to
confidence
coach the season out.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I expect Black Monday or Black Sunday right after Thanksgiving to have Mike Norvell and Luke Fickell on that plate. There's going to be, in my mind, a lot of big openings this year.
Yeah.
I think so. It's going to be, it will be a tough market for schools that are looking to come up with the kind of name that boosters and fans want, at least.
And also, I think a lot of the reason you didn't see a terribly big cycle last year, it was a really small cycle last year, all things considered, because of the House settlement not being done. Now it's done.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Now NIL is set more or less. You're starting to see things settle in. And so you're going to have this opportunity to, I think a lot of people who wanted to do a thing with their coach last year held off. Now that they know what the House settlement landed on, now they're all letting go of their coaches. So we've already had a pretty significant cycle already prior to anything else.
Okay.
So
okay. Interesting questions, and we will. I mean, we're not going to get these answers until probably start getting them until we're into December. But we'll see who else departs during the season and what happens once the regular season is over. Carla had some exciting in-person college football viewing last week, and that is as the best possible way to start our look back at last week's games.
Yep.
Carla, did you get to hear Nick? I don't recall.
Well, no. So this is interesting. I'm fairly certain that they played it, but I was sitting.
You're behind them.
I'm behind the band.
Yeah.
And one of the frustrating things, and this is part of the call it the Gen Zification, the Gen Alphaification, whatever you want to call. That every timeout involves some sort of music over the PA as opposed to letting the bands play.
Yes.
And we were sitting behind the LSU band right next to the scoreboard. So all I heard was what was coming out of the speakers. I mean, I finally ran down to the concourse at one point and just I missed an LSU score. That's another thing. The renovation of First Bank Stadium, sitting in a seat looking at the field, it's beautiful.
Right.
They did absolutely nothing to the concourses.
Okay.
And so we were in the far section. There was one aisle feeding the two giant sections for the visiting fans, which if you know anything about historically about Vanderbilt, like people like visiting teams always consider that a home game, right?
Yes.
Because everybody wants to travel to Nashville. So those sections are packed. There's one stairwell.
Well, okay.
To get everybody out of that. I missed the first 5 minutes of the game trying to get to my seat. Because everybody was like, because they're visiting teams, right? Like, so they don't know where their seats are. And so they're trying to figure this out, which section is which, and they're stopping in the aisle. And like, it was a nightmare. It was an absolute nightmare. So like, that's the one downside of like the renovation is like, it looks beautiful on TV, but they didn't do it. Like it, security lines are not fixed. Like nothing's fixed downstairs. Like it's a mess, but no, I said this in the text, and like we have obviously been longtime fans of Diego Pavia.
Yes. And
when we watched him on TV, we were like, the dude's a madman, right? Like he's fearless. He's going to do whatever he wants. Y'all, watch this kid in person.
Okay.
It's a whole nother level. It's a whole nother level of insanity. At one point, like I'm sitting with a bunch of LSU fans, right? And I muttered under my breath at least twice, Diego Pavia is a freaking maniac. Like he's elusive. Like, I mean, and you saw it, if you saw it on TV, the way that he eluded that pass rush time and time and time again. This Vandy offense is ridiculously fun, and they've thrown a wrinkle into it this year because we've talked about this, that Vanderbilt actually has a really good ground game, and they've got a two-headed running back situation very similar to what Penn State has. However, they've thrown a new wrinkle into it, and they've started running out Trey Richardson, who's actually a wide receiver, but they line him up in the backfield and give him the ball. Dude, he's 5'10". He's 5'10", 175, and just this shifty little back as a runner.
Okay.
And he was just like, pew, 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 a couple of times. And it was like...
Can you do that again?
Pew, 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 pew.
Thank you.
It is almost Halloween. I've been practicing my Star Wars. So, like, crazy good. And yeah, I mean, they pulled that win out. Just some other kind of random thoughts on the game. The LSU offense... not cohesive.
Yeah.
There were multiple times in the game that Garrett Nussmeier looked confused. At the start of the fourth quarter, LSU had that big run play. Ended up with 1st and goal on the 2. And the fans that I was sitting around were like, watch them not score 6 here. And they were absolutely right. Right? Like it was, they had a penalty, and then they went back 2 yards, and then an incompletion. Like it was just complete chaos at the goal line. There's no reason why LSU should not have been able to punch that ball in, and they didn't. And they settled for 3. And that happened at least twice where Nuss and the offense just did not look in sync on any level. Receivers were pointing at each other. Linemen were tapping each other on the shoulder. Like it was just like, hello, friends, it's week 8.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you should know your offense by now.
Have this worked out by now.
Vandy's legit good. Vandy is legit good. They're the number 10 team in the nation. It is the first time that they have been in the top 10 since 1937. When they were ranked 7th.
Okay.
And so I think it's time. This is again, in the year of our Lord 2025. How many times have we said that this year? In the year of our Lord 2025, we need to start having a conversation about not just bowl eligible Vandy, because we're there.
Absolutely. Yes.
We need to talk about playoff bound Vandy. We absolutely need to start talking about playoff bound Vandy, because I think there is a good possibility, depending on how things shake out over the course of the next several weeks. I think that there's an absolute shot that Vanderbilt makes the college football playoff. They're one of the best teams, as I mentioned. I mean, that game was crazy good. One of the best games. I've spent a lot of time in press boxes in my day. That was one of the best college football games that I have witnessed in person.
Okay.
Just with the atmosphere and the Vanderbilt offense and the way that they were able to shut down that LSU offense, it was just a really, really good football game. It was also like 92 degrees in the sun. We baked in the stadium.
Wow. Okay. All right.
But no, what a great afternoon. I'm so, the answer, if somebody gives you free tickets to go see Vanderbilt football now, the answer is always yes. It was just everything that I had hoped it was going to be, other than,
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the rest of Vandy's schedule, and Carla, this is very plausible.
It is.
It is. It absolutely is.
They have a game days coming to town. We'll talk about this in a minute with Missouri coming to Vandy. You have a road game at Texas, a Texas team that has looked real bad recently. And
then Vandy almost beat them last year.
Yeah,
almost beat them last year.
Yeah.
And then a home game against Auburn for Diego Pavia to go 4 for 4 against Hugh Freeze and probably get Hugh Freeze fired.
Right.
Then they get home against Kentucky, which is a bad situation, and they want Mark Stoops gone too. And then they go to Tennessee. I see at least 4-2, or sorry, 3-2, if not 4-1, potentially 5-0. If they go 5-0, they're in the playoff, no question. They are a one-loss SEC team. They might even be in the title game.
They might.
If not, they're a 2-loss team, and yes, you could absolutely make the case their only loss right now is a very that 30-14 is a misnomer. That was a 23-14 loss in Bryant-Denny to Bama.
Right.
And they beat LSU, and let's pretend they lose at Kentucky, but they beat Missouri at home and they beat Texas in Austin. Like, yeah, okay. You lost to Tennessee and you lost to Alabama, who are both also very good. Tennessee is 5-2. I could see them finishing out. They still have the Florida game, but that's the sort of thing where, you could absolutely talk about Vandy in the playoff. I don't think a 3-loss Vandy makes it.
No.
I think a 2-loss Vandy makes it.
Yeah.
Okay. Carla, do you have any other recollections from Saturday? Or was it that game and sort of let's go home?
No, well, I mean, I went home. I was listening, got stuck in traffic trying to get home, right? And so it took me like an hour and a half to get the 15 miles from Vanderbilt to my house. And so I was listening to Learfield. I was listening to the Blitz, as I always do, just kind of doing the runaround. And then I decided to just kind of punt on the rest of the day, other than being a mom, and kind of kept my eye on some college football. I mean, there was just the games were just so good.
Yeah.
They were so good, like top to bottom on Saturday. The Ole Miss Georgia game, I'll touch on both of those as we start talking about some of these other games this week, but that game was just ridiculous. Every drive in the first half resulted in points.
Yes.
Georgia had a perfect game. Every Georgia drive resulted in points.
Yes.
They never punted. What else? We ended the day. I have to mention this because there's no other reason to mention it. We ended the day with a Stanford postulate.
And that is always the right way to end.
It absolutely happened. That was a game that and in the most ridiculous way ever as well. It was just a good day, top to bottom. Really interesting games. My brain was on Vandy all day. So that was kind of where my head was. But I know we were just watching games all day, and going, that's interesting. That's interesting. That's interesting. It was just a good day.
Okay. AJ, what stood out on Saturday to you?
Number one, my beloved Bows are bowl eligible already in October. We're looking now to go to a bowl that is not in Hawaii. Let's do that.
Okay.
You don't have to. You can actually go to a bowl game and it's not at home. You could do that. I'm very excited about this. I'm calling last weekend was not a blood week. Let's not call it a blood week because it wasn't a blood week. It was upset tummy weekend is what it was.
Okay. Yeah.
As I'm rolling through some of these games, it was like Notre Dame 34, USC 24. Probably should not have been that close, but it was. What was the other one I was looking at? Arizona State at home upsets Texas Tech.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a fun one.
That one was super fun.
Holy
Texas
War. How did I
A&M,
forget the Holy War?
The Holy War was fantastic.
It was.
BYU almost fumbled that game away.
Yes, they did.
It was BYU was in control of that game for the vast majority of that game, and Utah brought it all the way back, had a chance, didn't get it. Missouri needed 2 overtimes to beat Auburn in Jordan Hare. We had, what was the other one? Oh, Texas A&M. Your number 4 Texas A&M Aggies. They go to Jonesboro.
Yeah.
It was a real upset tummy time because they won 45-42. They were in control for large chunks of that game, and then Arkansas would just come back. A reminder that the Texas A&M Arkansas game is always stupid, but Texas A&M wins. A reminder, this is a few years ago when Jimbo was still coaching, when they kicked the Arkansas had a chance to win, and they kicked the ball over the top of the upright.
Yes.
And it didn't count.
Yes.
And they lost. So there was that. UAB fires Trent Dilfer, immediately beats Memphis.
Right.
With Chris Mortensen's kid.
With Chris Mortensen's kid.
Yeah, that was. I didn't realize that till the end of the game. It's a spectacular story.
I turned that on at the end of the game because that was an ESPN Plus classic. His son sounds exactly like him.
He does,
which is very fun.
Yeah.
But they interviewed the quarterback because the quarterback, where's this kid's name? Ryder Burton, has been to like 4 different schools. He got the start. His parents flew in to see him, so they kept cutting to his parents. And he's like tearing up at the end of the game because the like reporter was asking him, like, what do you think what does this win mean to you? And he's like, I've just fought so hard to get to a game, to be able to play, and for this to happen, and my mom and I'm like, listen to this kid choke up, and I'm like, son, let that out, you deserve it. Like I felt so happy for him. It sucks for Memphis, but I'm happy for him.
Yeah.
TCU Baylor fought Louisville. Louisville beats Miami.
Yes.
Right. Whoops. Forgot about that one. Louisville beats Miami.
Kudos to Dylan for like we put that on the schedule because we talked about it ahead of time, and we were like, if anybody's gonna beat Miami the rest of the year, it might be Louisville.
Could be.
And then they did. And kudos to him for talking about it because he's a Miami fan. So I ran into him in the halls yesterday, and I looked at him. I was like, dude. He's like, we called it, but.
I don't like what happened.
Yeah, but I was right at least, so that's good.
It was just like Marshall beats Texas State. I don't know if you guys saw this one. It was another ESPN Plus that went to overtime. It's Marshall's homecoming. I saw the overtime. Yeah. So Marshall scores a touchdown to win, and in the process, they're not sure that it's actually a touchdown, so they go to review it. But Marshall, because it's homecoming, has fireworks set up for the end of the game.
Yes.
So they're like trying to determine if he got in, and all you hear is the referee going, the player is on review. They were blowing off every last bit of pyro, and you could hear every single one of them.
Yes, it's super impressive. I mean, it's like they have a direct line to the Zambelli family or something. And the one thing that you could very clearly hear the ref say was, "The game is not over." Because everyone's like on the field and everyone's going to come back off, and
the coach was like, "No, get back!" But the fireworks are still going off, so it sounds like a war zone happening, and it's just that's the level of silly that we needed.
No. Did you see the end of the North Carolina Cal game?
I was not awake for that. If
we want to talk ridiculous, couldn't have happened to a nicer team. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to the players, but North Carolina, if you didn't see it, please go Google it, look it up. The play is absolutely spectacular. North Carolina had a chance to win the game with a minute left, something like that. They were going to go punch it into the end zone. The player fumbles the ball just before crossing the goal line, and Cal recovers it in the end zone for a touchback, and then are able to kneel out the clock to be able to win that game. And it's just like, if that's not the epitome of what North Carolina football is this year, just take that play and just put it in the dictionary.
And finally,
yes.
Hey, Dabo. What you doing, bud?
Oh.
What you doing, friend?
I still struggle with the idea that that SMU is not a G5 team any longer. So I mean, my brain is going, what is Dabo? What are they doing? Why? But still, it's not good.
The Tigers are 1-3 in Death Valley this year.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, that one was the Troy game where they were down deeply at halftime.
Yes.
Yeah.
So their home fans are getting like the brunt of this. Their two wins where they won 38-10 and 41-10 were at UNC and at Boston College. And then they come home and they get slapped around by SMU. If I'm reading these standings here correctly, it says that Stanford and Clemson have the same record. And Stanford is actually ahead in the ACC because they have a better conference record. Huh. What a novel thing. We are in a great season. This is a great season. I'm sorry, Carla, but this is a great season.
So, and speaking of which, I have to break in right now because I am watching Cuse Action live right now, and
Yes.
Louisiana Tech has just scored on a deep touchdown as long as this flag doesn't call it back.
Mm-hmm.
But they're within 6 against Western Kentucky at home. This would be big in the CUSA if La Tech can win this. It is coming back. That touchdown is not going to count, but they do have the football. It's still the third quarter. They've got plenty of time.
Okay.
They are driving. We'll see if they can resume that drive. But yeah, no, you're right. Like, other than, like, all of my fandoms have gone to hell. But I am fully on the Vandy bandwagon now. I even kind of wore my slightly yellowish, you can't tell in the light, but slightly yellowish sweater. I am all in on Vandy, and that's what I'm going to ride the rest of the season. So that and chaos.
Perfect. Both seem to be working out very well so far. I am thankful that Ohio State's season so far has been knocking on the wood bookshelf right here, drama free. I would love to see them run the ball better. Have no notes about the defense, so I'm just going to leave it there. I watched OU steamroll Northern Illinois. That was on homecoming in Athens. There was a 3-headed running beast, Parker Navarro, C. Bagnura, and Duncan Brune. Together, they combined for more than 300 yards rushing. We mentioned Miami doing the Miami thing when they lost to Louisville at home. Notre Dame, that ended up being a closer game than it felt like. They beat SC at home. Jeremiyah Love needs to be a Heisman finalist. I know it's a quarterback award these days, which is so dumb, but he is incredible and has been consistently incredible so far this season. So there's my soapbox for the Notre Dame running back. It was a fun weekend. I wish I had. We were still kind of traveling and getting home, so I didn't see as much as I would have liked. I didn't get to see Vandy live. I rewatched most of that on Monday, but fantastic weekend and sort of indicative of how the whole season has gone so far. Now, let's see what's coming up this weekend. AJ, I believe you're going to start us off with the group of 5 After Dark, although you said it's a little bit light this weekend. And then we dig into the buffet.
Yeah, we have I'll say this, it's a light week. For a few reasons. One is we had a very big weekend last week. There was truly just a lot of games going on. I'm going to take a quick scroll through here because we actually have the big G5 game we're actually going to talk about coming up here in a moment. Where was the game that I wanted to look at? If you want to watch Friday night, we're just going to pick this Friday night. North Texas is going to Charlotte. That spread is 26.5. In case you want to see North Texas take out their aggression on more people, Charlotte is there for you. 7:30 p.m. on ESPN, Cal at Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech's favored by 4.5. Cal, again, just beat UNC, but they have to come across the country on a Friday night against Virginia Tech. Interested to see how that game goes. And then we'll talk about that game. Where was the game? There was one that I wanted to cover. 3 p.m. on ESPN Plus, UConn at Rice. You know who UConn just beat last weekend? Boston College.
Yep.
And not by a little bit.
Correct.
By a whole lot. They're favored by 10.5 over Rice in Houston. UConn could be 6-2. No one is talking about UConn football, but they are actually very good this year. You're going to see UConn, and like, you're not going to pay attention, and all of a sudden, like, your favorite team from a power conference is going to be playing UConn in a named bowl game.
Right.
Like a significant bowl game, you're going to be like, UConn? We're playing UConn in the bowl game? And it's not going to go well for you. So just, looking at you, Minnesota, Nebraska, that's the type of, like, team that's going to be like, we're playing UConn? They don't even play football. That's a basketball school. And then you're going to lose, and it's not going to feel good. At 3:30 p.m. on FS1. Let's talk about this one. San Diego State at Fresno.
Okay.
5-1 San Diego State, 2-0 in the Mountain West. 5-2 Fresno State, 2-1 in the Mountain West. San Diego State's favored by 3.5 on the road. The fun index is 48.5. E.J. Warner, son of Kurt, is the quarterback for Fresno State, and he is a ball chucker. He's got 10 TDs and 9 picks. This is the type of player we enjoy seeing at 10:30 p.m. because he might do something crazy or he might do something dumb. Who's to say? Who is to say? Meanwhile, San Diego State runs the dang ball. They are very, very good. Their offense is actually good. Remember the Brady Hoke years where, like, San Diego State couldn't score a point if you gave them 99.5 yards?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, they are not that team anymore. Sean Lewis actually has the offense rolling, and they are putting up points this year. San Diego State is a good team this year. They're back to being like scary San Diego State, 10-2, going to a Holiday Bowl type of thing. This should be a game that you put on your TV. I'm going to take Fresno at home here, mostly because I need San Diego State to take a loss. I do actually need Fresno State to take a loss more. Yeah, I'm going to take San Diego State because then Hawaii can get the tiebreaker there. So we'll take San Diego State. Carla, who you got in that game?
Oh, I don't know. Sure, San Diego State. Why not? No reason.
I like the Aztecs. Yeah. I appreciate a good running game. Solves many other issues. So yeah, let's do that.
3:30 p.m. on ESPN Plus. We're going to the MAC. Because it's October, they still play on Saturdays. Western Michigan goes to Miami of Ohio. Both teams are 3-0 in the MAC. They're 4-3 overall. If by the way, if you want a good giggle right now, this week, I highly recommend going to the conference standings for the MAC and seeing that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of the 13 teams in the MAC are 3-4 or 4-3, perfectly balanced as all things should be.
It is.
Miami and Western Michigan are currently sitting at the top of the MAC. They're 3-0 in conference. Western Michigan is 3-0 and have only given up 16 total points to MAC opponents. Their defense is real good. Their offense is okay. I'm going to take Western Michigan here on the road. I think they have the ability to go in and beat Miami and put themselves in the MAC title game as an early favorite to make the MAC title game.
I'm happy to see Miami lose at every opportunity, and I do think I don't think they're as good as their record might indicate. So I'll take Western in this game.
Defense wins championships, especially in the MAC.
It's true.
I'll take Western Michigan.
It's true.
I'll say this. We have no late slate. I don't know why. We have one game at 10:15.
World Series.
Yeah, Thursday.
Okay. Who watches baseball? I will say this. Shout out to my mother-in-law who was like telling my wife, who does not deeply care about sports in any way, shape, or form, about the Shohei Ohtani game where he had 3 home runs and struck out 10 in 6.5 innings.
I would have really liked to hear that conversation.
It was delightful.
Or monologue, whichever it might have been.
I need you to know that I was fixing a dishwasher during this. I was taking apart a dishwasher to find, because her dishwasher was not draining, and I discovered a darning needle. It's a very thick sewing needle.
Right.
Had somehow gotten into the dishwasher.
Sure.
Number
That's
one.
Number one.
Number 2 had made its way through the filter in the dishwasher.
Oh, jeez.
Then had somehow made the turn into the drain and basically had lodged itself into the drain pump propeller that actually pushes the water out.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Yeah. So we got that. We got that out. It's fine.
That's good. That's good.
But yeah, like while I'm laying on the floor trying to take apart the power, he had 3 home runs. It was amazing. I love you, B.
I'm going to tell your lovely wife I'm going to quiz her on Ohtani facts next time I see her.
Also, my mother-in-law thought Shohei Ohtani was a small guy.
I was
like, no, he's like 6'4". He's huge.
Monster.
No, I thought he was small. No, he's huge. Yeah, so the last game we have, the only late slate game we have, is part of, drum roll please.
Uh-oh.
It's buffet time.
Woo!
It's Big 12 buffet time.
I hope you're hungry.
The buffet is open, and I do truly hope you're hungry, because we are feasting this week.
We are.
At noon on TNT or HBO Max. If you're an HBO Max subscriber, I'm sorry, your prices are going up very soon.
Yes, they are.
Kansas State goes to Kansas in the Sunflower Showdown.
Woo!
Kansas favored by 2.5 at home. The fun index here is 56.5. Mm-hmm. Carla, who you got?
You know that like I was enamored with our Power Cats. I always am. And then they just kind of fell off the wagon at the beginning of the season. So this game is in Lawrence. Rock chalk.
Right.
I was solidly on the Wildcats bandwagon until I think maybe the second week of the season, when things were looking just awful, and then I even announced on this very program that I'm done. Kansas going to win this one at home.
I will also be taking Kansas here because Jalen Daniels has thrown 18 TDs and 2 interceptions. Mm-hmm. He's very, very good at throwing the football. I expect them to put up some points. We are across the board rock chalk. Next, at 3:30 on Fox, we have BYU at Iowa State. BYU is 7-0. Iowa State 5-2. Iowa State is favored by 3.5 at home. The fun index is a paltry 48.5. Crappy, who you got here?
I feel like BYU is kind of sort of building to a peak right here at this moment. Winning the Holy War last week, they've won tough games on the road. I was really bullish on Iowa State, but losing 2. Maybe they're reeling a little bit. This is going to be a tough one for Brigham Young. I got to side with the quarterback who wears number 47 and is named Bear. That is why I'm picking BYU on the word here.
Carla, who you got?
Like, insert shoulder shrug emoji here. Like, based on recent results, like BYU looks like the easy pick. Mm-hmm. Right? They're unbeaten. As Crappy just mentioned, Iowa State lost 2 straight to Cincy and Colorado. Random. High buffet. Yet Iowa State's favored in this game. Apparently, this is like the buffet would like to have a word with all of us. That's kind of what this one says to me. Like, this was an interesting fact because because I did do some research on this game because this one's really interesting. Credit your sources. Jay Drew of the Deseret News reported this is BYU's first trip to Iowa City since 1974.
That's a long
And
time.
BYU all time against Iowa State. Anyone want to take a stab?
0-2.
You're close.
What? 2-3.
0-5.
0-5. Okay.
BYU is 0-5 all time against the Cyclones. On paper, the BYU defense ranks higher than Iowa State in every category. The BYU offense is actually the number 2 rush offense in the Big 12. And let's be honest, they just looked flat out good last week. And okay, you're picking BYU because the quarterback's name is Bear. I'm picking BYU because not only is the quarterback named Bear, he's a 19-year-old true freshman, kids.
Yeah.
BYU's going to be around for a while. Cougs get it done on the road.
Okay.
I'm with you guys here. I think BYU, they have a good offense. Iowa State has looked really shaky. Yeah. BYU has looked good in shaky moments.
Yeah.
Like, they closed out against Utah. What was the game? They had the game the week before that.
Arizona.
I want to say they had the Arizona game. Yep. They closed that out. They closed out against West Virginia. They've played close games all year, but they've come out on top. And I don't see that changing. BYU is going to make everybody in Provo feel funny feelings in their heart every time they play a game, and not the good kind of feelings, but they're going to come out with a W. I'm going to take BYU here. At 4 p.m. on ESPNU, hide your children because this might turn into a bloodbath. Oklahoma State goes to Texas Tech. They go to Lubbock to play the Red Raiders. The spread, Texas Tech minus 38.5. The fun index is 56.5. Oklahoma State, do the funniest thing. I would love for that funniest thing in the world to happen here.
If we're rooting for chaos, that is what we would be pulling for.
However, Texas Tech is going to turn Oklahoma into a fine orange mist.
And I don't care who's playing quarterback.
Possible. Yeah. Texas Tech is going to be taking out some aggression upon the Pokes. But Carla, who you got here?
Yeah, it's got to be Texas Tech, and I don't care who's starting at quarterback because they had their backup quarterback played last week. That was part of the reason why they lost that game, and I'm not sure whether that's been resolved yet or not. I'm trying to do a quick search. But yeah, I don't care. Texas Tech's going to win.
Tech. With or without tortillas. Tech.
Yeah, also, Texas Tech, you're a bunch of cowards. A bunch of absolute cowards for saying you can't throw tortillas. It's like your whole thing. Why would you that's like saying, hey, Penn State fans, you can't wear white anymore. Ruin your vibe.
No, not going to do that.
Bunch of dorks. You got money and you lost your soul. Speaking of souls, 4 p.m. ESPN2, Baylor goes to Cincinnati. This one's got I believe the emoji I sent to the group chat here was eyes.
Yes.
Baylor Cincinnati is super interesting to me because Cincinnati has looked very, very good. Mm-hmm. They're favored by 4.5. The fun index though, 67.5. Baylor has the potential to do a very interesting thing here. Cincinnati's 4-0 in the conference. Baylor could. I feel like I'm feeling a Baylor upset here. I don't know why. There's no reason for me to feel that or feel those types of feelings in my heart, but this feels like a very stupid game. And I don't think Cincinnati's played a stupid game this year, but Baylor has. I'm going to go ahead and take Baylor here. Crappy, who you got?
I mean, that's a good point. And Baylor, I think, is accustomed to stupid games, whereas UC maybe not so much. I did watching the entire Iowa State Cincinnati game a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, whenever that was. Cincinnati was super impressive. That offense looked like it could not be derailed. And I'm not sure that Baylor's the team to step up and do that. Scorefest, shootout, potential is there. I'm still going to stick with Cincinnati, but that's going to be a game to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I think I like Cincinnati too. I know Baylor's been like an agent of chaos in the Big 12 already this season, but Cincinnati's played some close games and has pulled it out. And other than, obviously blowing out Oklahoma State, because who doesn't do that? They've been in close games the rest of the season. I mean, they beat UCF by 9, Iowa State by 8, Kansas by 3. Like they've been in tight games. They've pulled them out. I think, again, this game is tight, potentially a score fest, but Cincy wins at home.
At 6 p.m. on ESPN Plus, they had to hide this from you. TCU at West Virginia.
Yeah.
TCU's favored by 15.5 in Morgantown. The fun index is 55.5. We can keep moving here. This is TCU.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. Sorry, West Virginia fans, but just not your year. The real game I want to talk about, though, is 8 p.m. ESPN2. Houston coming off a big win, going to Arizona State, and the Sun Devils, who are also coming off of a fairly significant win. Arizona State's favored by 7.5 at home. The fun index is 47.5. Carla, who you got?
Good night. I'm looking at this right now. Gosh, these teams are super even. And I don't have the opportunity to look up like defensive numbers or anything right now, but offensively, these teams are like dead even. So this has the potential of being, I think it does have the potential of being a bit pointsy. I feel like I know a little bit more about Arizona State than I do about Houston, just based on who they've played. So I will lean Sun Devils here, but this is a prime buffet opportunity. Houston could win this game, and I mean, if Houston wins this game, they're 7-1, and we need to start talking about a ranked Houston. But I'll take Arizona State just because.
I'm gonna stick with the Sun Devils. Getting the what's his name? The quarterback back. Healthy.
Sam Levitt, yeah.
Thank you. I think that is a big step for them. They seem to be comfortable in a tight game last week. Houston has the benefit of perhaps the loudest play-by-play guy radio play-by-play guy I've ever heard, because that was in the rotation for the early games on College Football Blitz on Saturday, and we got to hear every time Houston scored, which was a lot, screaming, hysterics. It was fantastic. But I'm going to pick the Sun Devils at home to win this.
I will be taking the Sun Devils as well. I love you, Houston. But Arizona State, I think they are back on a mission. By the way, going back to that whole Florida talk, I've heard Kenny Dillingham, his name come up in that, and Florida fans going, I would take Kenny Dillingham right now. I would love
As a
that.
Penn State fan, I would take Kenny Dillingham right now, but I don't think he's going to leave Tempe.
No.
He's no longer he's their guy.
Mama has already called.
Yeah.
Mama has called. But Kenny Dillingham, I think that one is a super interesting one. And finally, your actual nightcap, 10:15 p.m. on ESPN. Colorado goes to Salt Lake City, and they will be playing Utah. 5-2 Utah. Utah is favored by 13.5. The fun index is 49.5. Colorado, I regret to inform you, this is not going to go well for you, because Utah has just lost the Holy War, and they will be putting a holy pounding upon you. I'm taking Utah here. Crappy, who you got?
Utes.
Did you say Utes?
Utes. The Utes.
Carla, who you got?
The only thing that I would say is that the Utes travel to Cincinnati next week. Is this a possibility of the letdown look ahead? You might have that here, but I still think Utah is the pick at home.
Okay.
But I think it's time for us to put our big boy pants on.
We're going to put we have two to discuss that are like briefly to discuss that just sort of hammer home a thing that we've mentioned a couple times this week. They're not quite big boy games in context of what our usual big boy games are. So they're like little big boy games, maybe we can call them that. But we've mentioned a couple times already, bowl eligibility. We are at the point of the season where you have come across some of these games that are sort of like play-ins to get the magical sixth win. If you guys think back to the heyday of divisions, conference divisions, and the Big Ten West, the beauty of the Big Ten West, there are two on Saturday. Both the winners of each game will be bowl eligible. And one of these games has the benefit of playing for the greatest trophy in all of sport, and that is Floyd of Rosedale. We will get to that one in a moment. First, at noon on Saturday on FS1, Northwestern at Nebraska. The Huskers are favored by 7.5 points, in spite of the fact they got absolutely waxed by Minnesota last week.
Yeah.
AJ, earmuffs. Cover your ears. Cover your ears. 43.5 points, AJ Fun Index. Okay, you're good. Carla, what do you think about this?
As much as I think it would just be kind of like the Peace State resistance of Northwestern getting bowl eligibility over Nebraska in Lincoln, I still think the pick here is the Huskers at home. I feel like we know a little bit more about them. They're a little bit more consistent. And let's be honest, like they need this game. Like they need to stop the talk about whether or not they're going to be bowl eligible. I think they're going to need it a little bit more. I'll take the Huskers at home in a rock fight.
Okay. AJ?
When I put my hands over my headphones, it actually disconnected my headphones from my computer, so I truly did not hear what you said, which is great. I think that I had a look on my face whenever Crappy started talking about this game because I looked at the schedule and I saw that Northwestern was 5-2.
Yeah,
I did not know that. I had no idea that Northwestern was 5-2.
That's why I pitched this segment, was because we have to talk to our kids about the fact that 2 of these 4 teams are going to be bowl eligible.
It's true.
At the end of this weekend.
Mostly because the last time I saw Northwestern, they got waxed by Tulane.
Right.
Like it wasn't even close.
Yeah.
They were jerks about the white jerseys for Tulane for Katrina, and they're being rewarded with a bowl game. Absolutely not. Husker do. Give me the Huskers here.
I mean, you could claim that the Huskers are reeling after last week. Northwestern has won 4 straight. But this is both of these teams will end up bowl eligible, I think. But Nebraska is the one that gets the magical 6th win this weekend. And then at 3:30 on Saturday on CBS, for Floyd of Rosedale, once again the greatest trophy in the history of sport, in all of sport. Minnesota at Iowa. The Hawkeyes are favored by 8.5. If you want to see AJ make that throw up face again, the AJ Fun Index is 39.5 points. Thank you.
Started with a 3. Disgusting. Gross. This is not what we listen. If you want to watch that, if you want to watch things that have a 3 that start like a 3 in the score, watch golf. Get out of here. That's what baseball's for.
So, AJ, what do you think about this game?
God, listen. At least with an Iowa game, they're quick, right?
True. Absolutely.
They're not dragging that out with all those incomplete passes. Right. Weird. They're running it up the middle, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, and so does the clock go with it.
Yes. Yes.
This feels like one of those games that I like. Oh man, this has got like 10-6 all over it. This feels like one of those, like the first team to score a touchdown, they should just stop the game and go home. Oh, I'm disgusted. And you know what? Here's why. I'm picking Iowa here because they're gonna drag Minnesota down and beat them with experience. Like this, that's what Iowa's gonna do here. They're gonna drag them down in the muck and they're gonna win a pig for it. Move along,
Carla.
Yeah, this is I was thinking that this potentially could be another letdown look ahead kind of thing because, they just beat Penn State. You're playing Minnesota at home.
Right.
Their next opponent is they host Oregon, but they have a bye week before then. So that's kind of off the table here. Yeah, I like I like the Hawk. If they were playing in consecutive weeks, then I would say they may overlook Minnesota. And PJ Fleck would love nothing more than to be overlooked because that gives him the fodder that he needs to go motivate his team to row the damn boat.
Yes.
No, this is going to be an Iowa win at home.
I agree. Hawkeye's going to Hawkeye, especially in Iowa City, and especially with a 100-pound bronze pig waiting for them at the end of the game. We have, I don't know if you guys can hear that, but there's lightning.
That was thunder.
That was,
I definitely heard that.
There's thunder. Yeah,
it was very well timed thunder too, because you said that and then you got the crack of thunder. It's like, okay.
Spooky season.
It is. Big boy games. We have a good slate of big boy games, including what we would normally consider to be a big boy game, but is not a big boy game, but it is perhaps the biggest boy game of the weekend. And in fact, just because we do these chronologically, it's going to wrap up this segment, which I think is 100% appropriate. These are all on Saturday. We begin at noon on the American Broadcasting Company. Number 8, Ole Miss at number 13, Oklahoma. The Sooners are favored by 4.5 points. The AJ Fun Index is 54.5. Carla, how's this going to go?
So this is interesting because Ole Miss last weekend goaded Georgia into a shootout. Like, that's the way Ole Miss likes to play. Every drive in the first half for both teams ended in points. The challenge for Ole Miss was that Georgia kept that streak going in the second half, and they couldn't. Georgia had a perfect game. The Georgia defense forced 3 consecutive stops in the fourth quarter. That was the difference. And so Ole Miss likes to impose its will on the style of play. That's how Lane calls the game. They did that against Georgia last week, and it didn't work. It didn't work because Georgia outsmarted them. And so now you go to Norman to face a team that, if anybody can keep up with the let's get this game into a shootout, it's Oklahoma, more so than Georgia. Right? Because they are wired in that way. Now, yes, Mateer isn't completely back yet to his pre-surgery form. He had a mistake-free offense last week in a win over South Carolina.
Right.
And here's the big difference in this game. This is a crazy thing to say, although it's not because of their head coach, but it's something that when you think about all those years of Lincoln Riley in Oklahoma, and we kept complaining about how Oklahoma didn't have a defense, guess what, friends? Not only does Oklahoma have a defense, they are the top-ranked defense in the nation, allowing just 213 yards per game. That's fewer than Ohio State. This defense is legit good. Put that in perspective. Georgia's defense is 28th. The Ole Miss defense, 66th. Give me the Sooners at home.
AJ, what do you think?
I think this is... It's very interesting. I feel like this is a potential letdown spot for Ole Miss. They are going to need to put a stop to this. Is a true strength on strength, weakness on weakness, absolutely sort of thing. Right? Ole Miss's defense, I think, has the potential to slow down Oklahoma enough. How many tricks does Lane have in the bag against Brent Venables? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take Oklahoma at home here. If this were a night game, I would be taking Oklahoma easily. But because this is a nooner, it's a little different. This is an 11 a.m. local kick.
Yeah.
This
is probably going to be stupid. I'm going to take Oklahoma, but we'll take Oklahoma here.
I don't think stupid at all. I mean, the strength on strength thing is what's going to define this game. And I just don't see. Well, Ole Miss does not have a path here because Oklahoma's defense is so good. If you try to get into a shootout, there's number one. There's a very good chance that Oklahoma can keep up, depending on how Mateer feels. but to be able to score like they did against Georgia, which is a funny thing to say, I don't see them being able to do the same thing against the Sooners defense. I mean, Lane's a smart guy, and maybe he's got new tricks up his sleeve, but I don't see it especially in Norman. I think Sooners are going to win this one at home. Also at noon on the Deuce, ESPN2, number 18 South Florida at Memphis. USF is favored by 4.5. The AJ Fun Index, I encourage you, AJ, to listen to this one, 63.5. In fact, what do you think, AJ? How's this one going to go, besides just being enjoyable to your eyeballs?
I need USF to do some proving, right? They went to Denton and got absolutely they took out a lot of frustration from that Miami game. I think it still was lingering on North Texas and put North Texas in the ground pretty easily. Memphis, you just had the letdown game. You got to get back up. You are hosting USF. This is a game I've had circled for a little bit because this is like a top of the American type of game.
Yep.
I'm going to take USF here. I think USF is the overall better team. I don't like seeing Memphis lose 2 in a row like that, but hey, don't lose the UAB.
Yeah, there's that.
You could have solved it there. I'm going to take USF here to win pretty handily, actually.
Okay. Carla, how's things going to go down the street from you in Memphis?
Yeah, it's about 3 hours from here. USF is legit good. I mean, obviously everybody talks about the first couple weeks of the year, but and as AJ just mentioned, I mean, they just went and leveled North Texas on their turf. Remember, friends, that USF, in case you've forgotten, their only loss is to Miami.
Yep.
I am with you. I don't fully understand what happened to Memphis last week. Remember that Memphis beat Arkansas a month ago. And so losing to the interim coach at UAB on the road, like it's just not a good look. Maybe they were looking ahead. Maybe they didn't take that game seriously because they were looking ahead to this one. The only thing that I could say here is something that AJ drives home a lot is that the Liberty Bowl is an exceptionally difficult place to play when you're the visiting team. That will be a factor here, but based on what I've seen in the momentum entering this game, Bulls on the road. Okay.
I agree. A win for Memphis here would be a huge step in kind of getting back in the conversation about an American championship, about a potential playoff berth. What happens when you take 3 weeks off? But South Florida is in the driver's seat here. They have been good. They have been consistently good all season. And if you like the way this sets up for them, a win here, and I think the biggest test they would have really for the rest of the regular season is a trip to Annapolis to play Navy in mid-November. They don't play Tulane in the regular season. That the potential conference championship there, but I think that Memphis is good. There's no question that is a well assembled team, and they're playing at home in a really, really tough building. But I think the Bulls will handle the Tigers in Liberty Bowl and continue on their path to whatever greatness is in store. 3:30 on ESPN. Number 15 Mizzou at number 10 Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt is favored by 2.5 points. The AJ Fun Index is a respectable 52.5. And Carly, you're not going to the game, but you might go to game day?
I'm thinking about it. If I can figure out how to make that work. Yeah, no, I didn't get tickets for the game, but game day is very, very appealing. We shall see how my week plays out as to whether or not I can sneak away for a couple hours to try to go get my face in front of a television camera on the Vanderbilt campus. What I saw last weekend from Vandy, as I mentioned, was incredibly impressive. But here's the thing. Vandy's feeling good. They're riding high. They get the game day treatment. Hey, Doors, you can't let your foot off the gas because this Mizzou defense is legit good. Better than what they saw last weekend. It's in the top 4 in the conference in every defensive category. 3rd in the SEC against the run. And that's going to be a challenge for Vanderbilt because they established, as much as we talk about Diego Pavia, like it's the ground game that gets that Vandy offense going. And it's the ability for Diego to be able to be deceptive in the backfield as to who has the football. That's what makes that offense tick. And that was very clear seeing that offense run in person. So trying to get that ground game going, trying to establish that momentum at home might not come quite as efficiently as it did last week. That being said, I'm picking with my heart here a little bit, right? And knowing this, Vandy's win over LSU was actually more decisive than Mizzou's win over Auburn. I'm all in on Diego and the Doors. I think they get it done again at home, and we might see an actual above number 10 Vanderbilt in a week.
Okay. AJ, how's this going to go?
It said a lot that Vandy beat LSU and then didn't storm the field.
So can I tell you a story about that?
Please.
Okay.
Because having been in the stadium, they actually told everybody not to. They right before there was a media timeout because LSU was calling timeouts to try to get the ball back at the end of the game, and they actually made an announcement during the media timeout that they didn't want fans to rush the field, and this is again because of that situation we had at Virginia a couple weeks ago. They didn't want the fans rushing the field until the opposing team got off the field. And so what happened was they implemented what we talked about. They implemented a clock and said, let's get the opposing team off the field and then the field will be open. But at that point, the momentum was gone.
Yeah.
And so you didn't have that massive field storming, but the student section did eventually make it out to the field. But it was very calm and people were taking pictures and the players stayed out and there was a whole bunch of selfies happening and it was more of a party than it was a field storming.
Interesting.
Which was interesting. But yeah, so if you're wondering why on TV they didn't storm the field, it was because they were told not to and literally security was holding them back.
I will say this: it was much funnier to think that they were we've been here before. Whatever, we don't need to.
Well, and it didn't to me I could see the student section right because they were on the same side as us, and it didn't look like they were going to storm the field anyway. They made the announcement, and I don't think they were going to. It was also homecoming, and so there was lots of other things going on campus that weekend. But it didn't. You didn't see the rush for you can tell when a crowd is going to storm the field.
They start
moving down, and that wasn't happening.
Right.
So I'm not sure they would have stormed the field anyway. But the fact that they'd said, hold still, let's get LSU off the field, and then we'll open the field. And that was actually kind of cool because then people were out there. I actually thought about sticking around and going out on the field just because. But I didn't. Because I don't go to school there and I felt weird. But that's what happened.
I understand. Okay.
But I'm still taking Vandy here. And they won't be storming the field this time either.
No, they won't.
Because they're going to act like they've been there. I'm interested to see how many of these coaches, like Eli Drinkwitz at Mizzou and Lane at Ole Miss, Matt Rule at Nebraska, PJ Fleck at Minnesota, a number of these coaches now see bigger jobs that are open. How many of them are kind of doing a little audition? This is what I could do. I could beat Vandy, or game day came and I went to an opposing stadium and won. But it ain't gonna happen this time. Diego for Heisman. Give it to him. Give me Vandy at home.
AJ, I had the exact same thing in my notes. The thing I wonder about this matchup: will both of these coaches still be at their programs at the start of next season? Don't know. They're both signed through 2029. So these, as we have learned, these things can be worked out. Shorter term, this game, these teams feel a little similar to me, but it just the experience that Vanderbilt has in these big games, certainly the experience of their quarterback. I think this is a relatively easy pick. Give me Diego and the Doors.
Can I add
please?
a quick little note here?
Yes.
for no reason, 3:30 p.m. on ABC, Alabama at South Carolina. Joe Tessitore is the announcer. Continue on. If anybody would like to see, just a little eyeball emoji over there. Just keep your eye on that game if you feel a need to have some chaos in your life, because the Alabama South Carolina game, especially one in Columbia, is usually stupid. Okay, we're not going to pick that game. We're just noting for posterity.
Totally legit thing to bring up, and I appreciate it. 4:15 on the SEC network. Number 22 Texas at Mississippi State. The Longhorns are favored by 6.5 points. The AJ Fun Index is 44.5. AJ, are we going to be able to think over the sound of cowbells? More importantly, is Arch going to be able to think over the sound of cowbells?
No, he couldn't think over the sound of Kroger Field. So I am. This is interesting because Mississippi State has had a lot of very close games this year.
Played really well. They have acquitted themselves well this season.
They still have not won an SEC game in 2 years.
Yeah.
So
15 straight.
15 straight SEC losses. But they're so close. And you know what? It's time. Give me Klanga beating Texas at home in Starkville, welcoming Arch to the pain that is SEC football, the true pain. You almost lost. You should have lost to Kentucky.
Yep.
And Mark Stoops called the dumbest overtime plays possible. You're going to lose to Mississippi State. I'm just calling it right now. Mississippi State wins. And by the way, not by a little bit.
Carla?
Yeah, Texas got dragged down in the mud by Kentucky, as one does when you visit Lexington.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean that's common, right? Mm-hmm. You go to Kentucky to get dragged down in the mud. That's what they do. Kentucky, none of this is surprising because the game was in Lexington. Mm-hmm. They owned the time of possession, more than doubled Texas's offensive production. Texas escapes. In part, yes, due to the overtime play calling, but also due to some Kentucky special teams miscues and a well-timed interception by the Texas defense. So the Texas defense, you can give them a little bit of credit here, for that win, for being able to get that interception.
Noted.
Mississippi State would do just about anything at this point for an SEC win, right? Their last win, just in case you were wondering, was 2 years ago, as we are recording this, October 21st, 2023, at Arkansas was Mississippi State's last SEC win. They came so close to beating Florida last weekend, close enough that the Gators went ahead and fired Billy. Their streak will eventually come to an end. I'm not sure that it happens this week just because that Texas defense is so good. Mm-hmm. Mississippi State just doesn't have enough offense to overcome that defense. Hammer the heck out of that under. I'll take Texas on the road in a very ugly game.
Okay. Ugly is the key word here. Texas was supposed to be one of the best teams in the country. Hasn't worked out that way. Mississippi State, as I said, has played well. Just can't quite get there. But at home, that is a huge thing. All those damn cowbells, and I really want to pick Mississippi State. I really, really do. I can't, in good conscience. AJ says I can.
You all can't see AJ nodding his head profusely.
You can do it. You can just say it out loud. You can say Ohio State's best win of the year loses to Mississippi State. You can do that. Say it with your chest.
I'm picking Mississippi State. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Leave me high and dry, sure.
Horns down.
At 7:30 on the American Broadcasting Company, number 3 Texas A&M at number 20 LSU. The Aggies are favored by a teeny tiny 2.5 points. The AJ Fun Index is 47.5. Carla, how's this going to go?
So I know that Texas A&M got into a boat race at Arkansas last weekend, and almost literally, because did you see how much rain fell during that game?
Yes.
There was so much rain and hail.
So
There was
much
hail
rain.
before the
The
game
hail
too.
was especially impressive.
Yeah, that was crazy. I didn't see that game live. But from my reading of the game, afterwards, multiple outlets noted that the Aggies need to make some big time defensive adjustments. But after seeing LSU in person last weekend, who else also needs to make some adjustments? Yeah, that would be Brian Kelly in that LSU offense. I mean, Nuss, again, as I mentioned, didn't look like he was comfortable in that offense a couple of times. And on the defensive side of the ball, LSU needs to remember how to tackle. It was remarkable to me how many Vandy players were able to escape loose arm tackles by that LSU defense. So many plays were extended due to elusive runners and yak. Honestly, I think LSU is in trouble here. And again, having been sitting in a section of LSU fans in the fourth quarter as the coaching staff was making very questionable decisions regarding clock management, including you didn't really have time to punt that football, but you did it anyway. A chant of "Fire Kelly" broke out around me. The LSU faithful are done. They're done. They don't want anything to do with Brian Kelly anymore. Now, whether or not that's what the administration sees, I don't know. But the fan base, they're over it. They don't like what they see out of this LSU team. They are, as I wrote here, the Taiga faithful are none too pleased with their head ball coach. If LSU loses this weekend at home, and I think they're going to, those chants are going to be much, much, much louder on national television.
Yep.
Texas A&M wins. Let's see what happens at LSU.
Okay. AJ?
If this were a nooner, I'd be with you there. If this were a 3:30 game, I'd be with you there. This is a Saturday night in Death Valley. As a 7:30 game, I think LSU is going to win this. A&M has played a bunch of really goofy games this year. They play to their talent. They play to their competition. I have yet to see A&M truly take over a game. I'm not counting. I don't necessarily want to count Mississippi State and Florida. They beat Mississippi State 31-9. They beat Florida at home 34-17. They beat Auburn 16-10. They beat Notre Dame 41-40. Utah State was 44-22. UTSA 42-24. They are not that strong on the defensive side of the ball.
No.
This is their third road game. Their first road game, they beat Notre Dame in South Bend 41-40, and then they beat Arkansas 45-42. I'm taking LSU here. LSU's a different breed than Arkansas and Notre Dame. And I'm gonna take LSU here. And it'll be one of those things where the fan base settles down on Kelly for 10 minutes. Not that long, but a teeny tiny bit, because he knows he has to get them back after losing to Vandy. He cannot, and they got pasted by Vandy too. So you can't do that. They're going to need to get back. I think this is the game to do it. I'm going to take LSU.
LSU has been fair all season. They opened with a loss to Clemson, and we now have a much more clear picture of what that means, what that context is. Texas A&M has been better than fair. The early season win at Notre Dame that they have been able to continue. But AJ, the numbers that you just rattled off, and the fact that they played to their competition, especially manifests itself on the defensive side of the football. To get in a shootout with Arkansas for a team that is ostensibly a national title contender is I don't want to say inexcusable, but it underscores what the problems they have. Texas A&M obviously can win on the road, but I think because it's a night game, I think LSU is going to bounce back and win in Death Valley this one instance and turn the heat down just a little bit on Coach Kelly and his family. We have one more game. Family. 8 p.m. on ESPN-U. We have a number 1 versus number 2. And AJ, I'm going to let you lead the discussion here. This is right up your alley, and I am happy that we were able to include it in the big boy games because it is. If you remember us talking about the Dakotas, boys and girls, here it comes.
It is the Dakota Marker game, live from Brookings, South Dakota, Dana J. Dykehouse Stadium. North Dakota State goes to South Dakota State. This is I don't have a line on this game because
I could not find one either.
Listen, if you need a line on an FCS game, 1-800-GAMBLER. Call the number. This is always a good game. Mm-hmm. And they end up meeting in the playoffs fairly often too. Mm-hmm. I believe last year they played in Fargo twice. The Dakota games are always good. South Dakota State lost their head coach, Mark Gronowski, who was their quarterback last year, currently having a not-so-great time at Iowa.
Running the football in Iowa City.
And basically running the wing tee at Iowa.
Yeah, pretty much.
This is and here they are, 7-0. Each of them are 7-0, number 1 versus number 2 in FCS. Like, ain't nothing changed. The Dakotas will reload. They are the Alabamas of college. They're the Alabama and Ohio State if Alabama and Ohio were the same state.
Okay. Yeah.
Or they're two different states, but if they were next door to each other. Imagine, like, something like that, right? We're stretching this analogy.
We got you.
I feel the need to take North Dakota State here. They have the deeper continuity. The coaching staff is still there. They didn't leave. The South Dakota State staff left, but not entirely. I believe the coach at South Dakota State is a former coordinator. Let me just make sure on that. There it is, the 2025. It's Dan Jackson, who last year was the DC and linebackers coach for Idaho. Okay. And before that, he was a DB coach at Vanderbilt, but he played at North Dakota from 2003 to 2005, was a defensive assistant, then DB coach, and then special teams coach at South Dakota State. He is like, this is, again, a mama called situation, but they stay in the family. Mm-hmm. I think this is his first game as first Dakota Marker game as head coach. Mm-hmm. I think North Dakota State comes out and wins it, but this could be very fun for him. Also, the Sickos Committee had an idea for the Dakota Marker game, and I think it is a very good one. Mm-hmm. Each year, the Dakota Marker game, because the Dakota Markers are named after the literal border markers between the states that were literally stones that were set by the people who were marking out the border. Mm-hmm. Every year when the Dakota Marker game is played, whichever team wins gets a mile of the other state. Like, they just move the border marker 1 mile in.
I love this.
And if you win 3 in a row, you get 3 miles of the other state. And so the border just moves by, like, various miles year in and year out, which I find hilarious. I think that would be amazing. Some farmers, there's a group of farmers who are on that border who would be livid about the situation. However, this is for comedy purposes only.
Yes. That's spectacular. And I was unaware. But that is one of the greatest college football things I have ever heard.
Yep.
That's fantastic.
I have a story. I have an even crazier story when Hawaii plays San Jose State in a week.
Okay.
We'll tell that story then.
Foreshadowing, boys and girls, be sure to come back for that one. Carla, number 1 versus number 2. Who you got?
Well, first of all, that story sounds an awful lot like the Monaco-Rochester Bridge. If you don't know that story,
exactly
you can ask any of us because we can all tell you that. And the number of times we yelled across the newsroom, tell me I'm right about this, Crappy. The number of times we yelled across the newsroom, who won the football game? Because we had to name the bridge properly in a story.
100% true, boys and girls. That is, no exaggeration there.
That is legit. That's like 20 years ago. I'm pulling that out of my memory, but that's a thing. I still tell that story to my students all anyway.
Can I tell the story here on the podcast real fast?
Sure.
Yeah, go do it.
From 1987 to 2009, the bridge was named each year in the honor of the winner of the Rochester versus Monaca High School football game. In 1988, the Rochester manager Ed Paroli and Monaca manager Tom Stoner made a bet signed with a handshake that gave them the naming rights of the bridge to the winning team that year. With Monaca's high school merger into Central Valley High School in 2009, the 2009 game was the final game to determine the naming rights. By winning the 2009 game, the bridge became known as the Rochester-Monaca Bridge through the end of the 2009 school year. Since then, it has been called the Rochester-Monaca Bridge on the Rochester side and the Monaca-Rochester Bridge on the Monaca side. Both towns' police departments respond to incidents on the bridge, with the incident location on the bridge deciding which town takes charge of the incident. Yes. In case you're wondering how petty local politics, sports, and other things can be, ta-da!
They changed the signs on the bridge.
They do.
Every year.
They did.
They and I don't know what the signs
they
do
only
now.
had to make 2.
I know, but it was just such an awesome and 100% petty thing that they, like the day after the game is over, there is a road crew out there switching the signs out, ratcheting back in, and putting them back up. I don't know what the signs do now. And next time I'm up there, you can be 100% sure I'm going to look. Like if you're going towards Monaca, does it say Monaca-Rochester Bridge? If it's the other way, does it say I need to find this out. So yeah. That's kind of the level of petty we're talking about. Carla, did you give us a prediction? I don't even remember.
I didn't, because I was too busy thinking about the border markers and how that related.
I thought of the exact same thing. I'm right there with you.
I quickly looked up some stats on this game because they're tough to find because it's FCS. And I'm glancing at them right now, and I am very clearly seeing an edge here for North Dakota State. That just like statistically, it looks like they are the better offensive team. They have slightly better defense. There was a note, I'm on Sports Illustrated at the moment, that South Dakota State quarterback had an injury last week, and it's not 100% certain whether or not he's going to play in this game. So that factors in here. So I will take the North Dakota variety to win this football game.
Okay. I'm basically looking at recent history. The two teams, it appears that last time they played would have been in the FCS semifinals. North Dakota State won that game 28-21 before winning the FCS championship over Montana State in a 35-32 barn burner. I'm going with the Bisons. It always is a tough thing to beat your rival on the road, but I'm going to stick with recent history here, and I think North Dakota State is going to come through with the win. Boys and girls, you can hear the Carla and Crappy Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, and a variety of other podcasting hosts. You can watch us on YouTube and on the show's Facebook page, or, both places if you so desire. You can read us on our Substack. If you like us, please subscribe, rate, and review. If you don't, mind your own damn business. Be sure to come back next week to see exactly how wrong we were, and to hear AJ's story about Hawaii and San Jose State?
That's correct.
Okay. Guys, final thoughts. AJ, start with you.
We have a game between two very equal-footed teams. Their feet are very, very low, but they're very equal. And that is the Maine Maritime Mariners and the New England College Pilgrims. They play in the Conference of New England in Division III football. And according to Bill Connolly at ESPN, he of the SP Plus rankings, he puts out a spreadsheet every single week that has all 766 teams in order, from number 1, Ohio State, all the way down to number 766, which up until this week was Maine Maritime.
Okay.
Who are currently 0-6 in play.
Mm-hmm.
Oberlin had a bye week and somehow lost the bye week and is now number 766.
That sounds like an Oberlin thing that would happen. Actually, yeah.
However,
it's a nice campus. I've been there, but yeah, it
New England
right.
College, the other team playing in this game, is number 764.
Oh.
So we have number 764 versus number 765. These are two of the three worst teams, and up until this week, they were the bottom two teams in all of college football. That is NAIA, Division III, D2, FCS, FBS. This is the literal bottom. And it'll be on the Team One Sports app at noon, baby. Get out your apps. And I need you to put this on your screen and watch the magic and majesty of Conference of New England D3 football wash over you. Someone has to win.
No, actually, somebody doesn't have to win.
That's true.
It
doesn't. It could. Yeah, it could.
Does D3 have time? Does D3 have overtime? D3 has overtime.
They've got to have overtime. I don't know
this
how
point,
it works, but yeah,
right.
Yeah,
I mean, we're assuming. I think we're making a big assumption here that they do, but I think they do, and so they can't really tie. But they will determine a winner, and so somebody is playing to not be the biggest loser. Also, because Bill C puts this entire list together, you get to see all of the teams together. North Dakota State is number 69. UCLA is number 70, just in case you're looking for that. North Dakota State is number 35. Florida State is number 34. Maryland is 36.
Don't play Dakotas. If you're an FBS team, guys, just don't do it.
Don't do it. Who was the one? Our Trinidad Chambliss, who played for Ferris State. They are number 140.
Okay.
And if I scroll down here, Middle Tennessee is number 170.
All right.
Duquesne is 164. So in case we're wondering where Middle Tennessee is in football, they are there. And just for our own sake here, Robert Morris is number 304.
That could be much worse.
Frostburg State,
could be.
Kaiser University, Dordt in Iowa.
Wait. What is Dordt?
Dordt is in the Great Plains Conference in NAIA.
In Dortland.
Dordt. D-O-R-D-T.
I need to know what this is. Dordt. It's in Iowa?
I'm looking. Dordt University. It is a university in Sioux Center, Iowa.
Okay.
They are a Christian Reformed Church affiliated school.
Okay.
And yeah, they offer over 90 programs of study.
Very nice. Okay.
And they have an enrollment of 1,943 students. They are the defenders, and they are black and gold.
Very nice. Go Dort.
So there you go, Dort. Go Dort.
Go Dorts. Go Dorts.
Go Dorts. Anchored down.
Anchor Dort.
The comma Dorts.
Okay.
We lost it.
Yeah,
get it back.
Get it
the
back.
show is officially derailed.
It is. You guys were so good while I was not with you, and I've just derailed everything.
Is this gonna be new lingo? That anytime something weird happens in college football, we're just gonna call it a Dort?
I kind of like that, actually.
We've learned so much. Who was the team that Carnegie Mellon played? The Green Terror?
Yeah,
the Green Terror of I don't remember where that was. That was someplace out east. Muhlenberg, some guy named Muhlenberg this year. This week is what's on the docket there. Carla, what are you looking forward to?
I don't know how I could possibly follow that up. Penn State is blissfully off this week. The only game that I have on my usual fandom list is as AJ just mentioned, our middle of the pack, quite literally, Robert Morris Colonials on the road. This is interesting though. They're on the road at St. Francis. The game is at 3 Eastern. I believe you can see that game on NEC Front Row. There was no TV listed. This is another one of these teams has to win this game. St. Francis is 0-6. Robert Morris is 1-6. But the interesting thing is if you've been following what's been happening at St. Francis is the Division I football team, the Division I athletics that have decided to drop down to D3.
Yes.
And so a lot of their players portaled out.
Yep.
And so that's why this team is struggling. St. Francis used to be one of the best teams in the NEC. They had been historically. So this is interesting. So this will be one of the last times, if not the last time, that Robert Morris will play St. Francis. This was a big rivalry game because they were so close to each other, being in just down the road in Loretto. So this game's gonna be really interesting, and I don't remember when that move is happening, whether it's happening in the 26 or the 27 academic year. But this might be the end of a very long-standing rivalry in the NEC. Just quick passing, another really cool trophy game that's happening that we didn't even mention, which is odd. Again, 2025. What are we doing? It's Paul Bunyan week, friends.
It is.
Michigan State is happening this weekend. That game is on NBC in the primetime window. They got the NBC slot, so that is at 7:30 on NBC. That game's going to be really interesting to see how Michigan decides to respond to everything that's been happening there at the moment. They've been up and down a lot, so we'll see if they can beat their rival. That'll be something interesting to pay attention to. But otherwise, I'm gonna Dort, friends. Dort.
As I mentioned, Carnegie Mellon, the number 19 team in Division III, they are continuing to navigate their new conference. They are going to unranked Muhlenberg, which is someplace east of here. No Buckeyes this weekend. Okay. Bobcats are on the road against Eastern. I appreciate you guys trying to keep alive the notion that OU could make the playoff. I think the loss at Ball State a couple weeks ago took care of that. But there's a parallel this season and last season. Last season, the early conference loss was to Miami, and that was an awful game. And they ran the table after that. Got to the title game, won the title game against Miami handily. And then won their bowl game. Honestly, that outcome would be perfect for this season, and it kind of sets up the same way. So that's what we're pulling for with the Bobcats, and that run I hope will continue on the gray field in Ypsilanti, Michigan. I will also be cheering for Oregon this weekend. The Ducks are hosting Wisconsin. Here's why. Oregon will be wearing Grateful Dead tribute uniforms. If you Googled Grateful Ducks, you will see examples, tie-dyed letters, steal your face with the duck bill. It is fantastic. It is fantastic. The Dead played 10 shows at Autzen Stadium over the years. Many of them like legendary status shows. It was sort of the band's unofficial Pacific Northwest home for summer tour stuff. So go Ducks, go Grateful Ducks. Hopefully Fickle won't get fired this week, but it's going to happen at some point. But anyway, check out those uniforms. Finally, I need to thank Jake Rose and Dylan Simmons for their help while I was not here. They both did a fantastic job.
And Jake on very short notice.
Jake, as we know, is really, really good at this. Dylan, I got this sense watching him when Carla Woody were on his show last fall, and it certainly comes across. He's good at what he does, and they both did a fantastic job. And then I always thank you two every show. this week, I want to emphasize that because I not all of that was planned, obviously, and
very much so.
and I and you guys carried on like we're not professionals. I don't. None of us have ever received any money for doing this, but
we should probably fix that.
I would. Yeah, I'd be fine. If someone wants to pay us, sponsor us. We're good. But that would be fun. But I really appreciate what you guys did to carry this on, in my absence. So thank you very much, boys and girls. Thank you as always. For watching, for reading, for listening, for doing all of the things you do for the show. Another crazy weekend is on the docket. Watch as much college football as you can. There's good stuff. Don't sleep on that FCS game because it's going to be a good one. But most of all, enjoy college football. We're about halfway home for the regular season, probably a little bit past that. So enjoy it while we got it. Max is coming. All that stuff. Enjoy it, boys and girls, and we'll talk to you again soon. Cheers, everybody.